Welcome back to DataBytez, your number one source for data-driven content. Today, we are going to be covering how to use the SEC EDGAR search tool. Now, in a previous video, I talked about a 10K. What is a 10K? Why is it important? But I didn't tell you how to get them, how to find them. Well, that is where EDGAR comes in. The SEC has set up this wonderful tool known as EDGAR, which stands for, it does stand for something, the Electronic Data Gathering, Analysis, and Retrieval System, so that you can conveniently pull all the filings, all the required filings from publicly traded companies. And what are publicly traded companies? Those are companies that are trading on the stock market that you can go out and buy a portion of. Now, let us get going and trying to get there. So if we just search up SEC, EDGAR, blah, blah. The first thing that you might probably see is this search filing. So we're just going to go there. And you get to see it's part of the EDGAR system, but it's not really the one I like. Actually, we're going to go lower here into the EDGAR search tools and go to the full text search. And this is what I would like to say the EDGAR search tool is. And you get to see here, they proudly boast, as they should, that the new EDGAR Advanced Search gives you access to the full text of electronic filing since 2001. And this is very important to the financial system because no one would trust handing over money to companies to buy a portion of it if they had no idea what the hell the companies were doing. So the SEC is in charge of protecting investors, ensuring that there is a full transparency between the public and companies in compliance with generally accepted accounting principles to have very clear financial statements, very clear representation of the company to the public. If a company fails to do so, they will be facing a lot of legality, a lot of very bad things. So it's in no one's best interest to do so. If you want to know a bad time, I guess no better example than the recent FTX blow up. That was a big thing where investors were misled. But that's how the cookie crumbles. Anyways, we are now going to be searching up something. So you get to see here, the search bar kind of gives you kind of tells you what to do. You get to search by keyword, ticker, company name, SIK number, yada, yada, yada. We are going to be using the ticker. If you don't know what a ticker is, and any stock exchange, or if you just follow stocks in any capacity, it's those little 3 to 4 letter symbols, letters that appear to represent a company. It's very important that you know the actual company you are looking for, its actual ticker, because you can easily invest in the wrong company if you just go off the ticker alone without doing your due diligence. The most notable example in recent time was back when the disease that shall not be named was ravaging the world. People believed Zoom was going to blow up, the video conferencing software. Unfortunately, a lot of people did not do their due diligence and were just riding the wave and invested in a company whose ticker was ZOOM, which was not the video conferencing tool. It was a completely different company. And so the SEC stepped in and stopped trading because it was like, hey, I think people are not doing their homework and are investing in the wrong company, which is basically misleading the public, not for any fault of any of these particular companies, just no one was really doing their research and just, as most things, wanting to get rich quick. But that is a topic for another time. We are just going to look up Microsoft because I like Microsoft. They make cool stuff. So we're going to do MSFT, that is Microsoft Corp. And we get a bunch of this. Now we need to pull a 10K. And really, when you're pulling 10Ks, if you are considering investing in a company, you should be pulling at least the last 10 years. So we're going to change the file date range for the last 10 years. It's very convenient. And why, you may ask? Well, in a future video, this will be dealt with in detail, but to kind of bring some hype. It's because this is how you do a truly fundamental analysis on the business itself. This methodology is done by Benjamin Graham, the father of value investing, the person who taught Warren Buffett all that he knows basically about investing. He set the bedrock, the foundation. He says get the last 10 years. So we're going to get the last 10 years. Follow the smart man. He knew what he was talking about. And we are going to further filter down our results by only having all annual, quarterly, and current reports. And now everything has been updated. And if we look at our results, we get to see 8Ks, 10Qs, 10Ks, 11Ks, blah, 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 blah. Still a lot of extra stuff, more than we want to see. So we are going to go over here to the refined search results by and bring down this form drop down and just click 10K. And here we go. We have now all of these nice 10 little reports here for annual reports. So we get to open up one. You get to this window that pops up. We do not want to open the filing. We want to open the document. Opening the filing takes you somewhere else. I don't know what it is. Not really relevant to us. And this is a 10K. It is a very long document. If you look here at the index, it is over 100 pages. And Graham's prescription is that you kind of read, I think, at least 5 years worth, but at least 10 years of financials. And when you do read this, you're going to want to read it from the bottom up. Now, why is that? Why are we reading it in reverse? Well, it's because companies tend to hide the not so great facts about them at the bottom. Why? Because they assume people will not read the whole thing. And that is a fact that is very important to remember. You want to start from the bottom unless you are truly disciplined enough to know you are going to read the whole thing. But otherwise, if you think you might stop reading, read from the bottom up. You'll get the most important things to really watch out for. But really, you should be reading the whole thing anyway. So there is no download button. If you look around here, there's no way to actually download this. So you actually need to print it and save it as a PDF if you want to download it. So you just hit Control P, and at some point, I believe this will work. There we go. And you'll just use whatever installed module is in your computer. So for me, it's Microsoft Print to PDF, and you'll just print it and you'll save it in the directory that you want. And again, you'll do this for all the documents you're considering investing a company in. Now, if you are already invested and you do not need to do this, this is a great way to just keep up with your investment. For all the stocks that you actually invest in, you should be keeping up with their annual filings, because you need to know if the company is headed in a direction, if they still a direction you like, a direction you see that could still lead to growth, or you like that the confidence that management is displaying, the decisions that they're going to make, what their perspective is on the market. All these things you should hear directly from them themselves, and then decide whether you still want to keep your money in, or maybe it's time to take your money out. Maybe make a sale. Anyway, that's really all I have for you today. Stay tuned. We'll be going into more detail about stocks and investing in the upcoming video, with a big one, which is how to invest like a billionaire, following the methodologies that have been proven through time, not really following what Wall Street says, but really looking at the fundamental asset that you are buying and evaluating, am I overpaying for it? Am I getting it at a discount? Will my investment be erased by volatility just because people believe something is going to happen when, regardless, the actual asset is worth more than that? Get into that in more detail later. Stay tuned for it. Until then, I hope you have a great rest of your day. It's Patrick from DataBytez. Stay data driven. Goodbye.